Hello everybody, and at the time of recording this, happy Easter. Today I'm going to be reviewing the new project by Bladee called EXETER. Now Bladee, he's a bit of an enigma when it comes to people who are fans of hip-hop and fans of music in general, not only because of his low profile and his cryptic messages that he likes to send to fans on his social media platforms, but because of him also and his associates of Draaaaaaiiiin, his group, being just totally separate from any sort of trends or expectations that one might have when they go into any sort of hip-hop track. They're part of the subgenre cloud rap, and cloud rap has definitely now made its way out of the underground thanks to big name artists such as Playboi Carti, Travis Scott, Lil Uzi Vert, and basically have came from the underground from the help of A$AP Rocky, people like Main Attractions and Lil B. But despite these artists that I've just mentioned now having universal acclaim for nearly a decade, it only seems to be very recently that a group or specific artists who have been going on as long have only finally started to get the acclaim that they deserve, and that's people such as Young Lean and the associates of Draaaaaaiiiin and Sad Boys. Out of all of the groups, I'd say Bladee is definitely going to be the most polarising artist-wise. Now, whether this is going to be your first time listening to Bladee through EXETER, or you've been trying him through other different songs that he's released over the years he's been active, no doubt the thing that's going to kind of maybe put you off is his vocals. More likely than not, you'll think that Bladee is a totally incompetent singer and his vocals are totally all over the place, even with autotune heavily applied. Also his lyrics as well, which you'd assume would be the highlight of being a rapper, is very, very hard to understand if you don't get the lyrics up or don't listen to tracks multiple amount of times. But that's exactly what makes Bladee such an enigmatic artist. You know, you'll go to a fan of his or a fan of Draaaaaaiiiin in general, and you'll maybe say, why do you like this? I don't like it, and la-di-da-di-da. And most likely than not, the fan will just say, you just don't get it. You just don't get it, man. But you know, I'm a huge fan of Bladee, and it is hard to describe what it is that I like about him or what it is to get. For many of people who really enjoy an artist, they usually feel that they can be transported to another world, you know, escapism. And for me, that's exactly to a T what Bladee's music does. The closest I can kind of describe it is the band Cocteau Twins, who also have a very dreamy and hazy production style that Bladee is usually on. But at the same time, Elizabeth Fraser, the singer out of Cocteau Twins, usually has very unintelligible lyrics too. But it doesn't really matter. It's the overall package, it's the way that she uses her vocal inflections and melodies that makes the music so good. And that's what I get from Bladee. Now, to be honest, I couldn't have picked a better project to review by Bladee, because this form of escapism is really, really put forth in this project. Because for me, I feel that this is like a concept mixtape in a way. It's kind of like a fantastical story going to some sort of medieval style fairyland or fairy tale. I particularly think medieval because I see that the cover design seems to be very influenced by the stock and buskin, and also like a court jester too. I can also go by the lyrics, of course, too, which I think kind of gives more proof. And it feels like I'm in a love story. Castles made of cards and I watch it go down. It's like love. It's just like in a fairy tale. The project seems to detail some sort of wedding going on. If you listen to Love Story, for example, at the very end of the track you hear church bells going on, and in the song Imaginary at the very end of that track you hear like a crowd cheering, as if a wedding's just finished and the couple has just kissed. Every song's kind of like a chapter in a book. They all flow really, really well, and you'll notice as well at the very end of the last track it flows seamlessly to the first track, as if you finish the book and you're going back to the start. Now, what other rapper, from what I've told you so far, would you think would ever try and come up with a concept like this and succeed at it too? You know, instead, I'm even thinking just musical wise, other artists in general, not just hip hop, the only other similarities I can pull is maybe early Final Fantasy music or maybe Mew. EXETER was fully produced by Good, who just totally sells this mixtape. He's got this fantastic eye for magical and whimsical sort of sounds, which suits this concept really well. Good's been working with Sad Boys and Draaaaaaiiiin since way back in 2012, and has also appeared heavily on Echo 2K's project E. Echo 2K, speaking of which, is the only feature on this mixtape on 2 songs, and totally fits this project as well through his very heavenly falsettos and his lyrics, which also really suit the project. In the first track, Mirror, Good uses these reverb-soaked triangles and a sort of music box as well, which if EXETER was like a short film, it's almost as if the camera was panning into one of those small dancing ballerinas twirling. This leads to one of my favourite tracks, Wonderland, which has these brilliant wobbly arpeggiators, which is so wibbly wobbly. It kind of reminds me of Super Mario Galaxy when you would get the sling pods and fly them across different planets. Both Bladee and Echo 2K, who's on this track, are great. I really like Echo 2K's Give Love a Chance refrain. The following track is probably my favourite, the Excellent Merry-Go-Round, which is undeniably really catchy, and I love the 8-bit beat and synths that are used in this as well. It's a track like this and a later track on the project, Open Symbols, which have this warm and low fidelity, which actually reminds me a lot of Viper's discography. Every moment special sort of glitchy, pitched up humming is just something to behold. And Rainbow Star sort of climaxes with this big modulated phaser, which kind of sounds like you're just flying through the clouds. So instrumental wise, I really couldn't fault this project. The only little faults I could really give to it is Bladee himself. This isn't talking about my opinions on his vocals and his inflections and so on and so forth, but I personally feel, listening to a huge amount, if not all of his discography, that he's doing some quite derivative melodies on this project. Rainbow Star, for example, I've noticed recycles a lot of melodies that I found him using in a song called Vanilla Sky. And Every Moment Special is a very lyrically skeletal song, and that doesn't make it bad, of course, but I personally feel that it's Bladee's vocal delivery is very dry, and I personally feel when you listen to the lyrics that are actually there, it really doesn't sell much of this high sort of fantasy concept that other tracks sell really well. Referring to Spotify's tweet about how this project was kind of made in a week, I can kind of give a reason why there's lyrics that are like this, but at the same time I noticed in a Fader article Bladee talked about how he purposely was focusing on making his lyrics much more shorter and to the point to kind of sell the imagery that he was trying to encapsulate. Now this isn't to say that this is Bladee by the numbers, if Bladee by the numbers could really be a thing. He still comes up with some vocally very quirky and sort of bonkers ideas. His inflections on the last track, Imaginary, just sounds like he's just totally out of it, as if at this wedding he's drank too much of the punch and wine and he's just going on a sort of drunken ramble. This track will definitely be the biggest patience test of someone new to Bladee, but for someone like me who's really enjoyed the ones that are really out there vocal wise, like Ice Dance's Waster and working on Diane's Best Buy, it's something that I personally really enjoy. Certainly unique, but endearing, I think that's the main word I'd use. Overall, whilst not my favourite Bladee project, I will be returning to it many a times because of its imagination being so singular and extraordinary. Some of my favourite Bladee tracks have ended up coming on this project, and whilst there are a few ones that I don't think are as good as other tracks, I think this is overall still a very good project. I'm going to give this a 7 out of 10. So thanks for watching everybody, hope you enjoyed my review, take care.
Thanks for listening.